So I've got 3 o'clock. I think we'll go ahead and get started. It's Wednesday, June 27th at 3 o'clock. We're going to call the meeting of the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District Board to order for June. Clerk, please call the roll.
Barron.
Present.
Hannon.
Here.
Barnes.
Here.
Bauer.
Here.
Chaplin. Here. Cho. Dial.
Present.
Quorum is present.
Thank you. I'd admonish everyone to please turn off or silence your electronic cell phones and devices and what have you at this time. Our first item is our approval of our agenda for today's meeting. It's in front of you. I'll ask for a motion after you've had a chance to peruse it.
I move the agenda be approved as distributed. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve today's agenda. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is our public hearing on the budget and appropriation ordinance for fiscal year 2019. Huh? What was that? Oh, I'm sorry. At this time, let me find our notification here. The primary purpose of this hearing is to receive input from the public on the proposed budget and appropriation ordinance for the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District for the period from July 1, 2018 to June 30th, 2019. Beginning on May 24th, 2018, copies of the tentative budget were made available for public inspection on the district's website, www.cumtd.com, and at the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District Administrative Offices located at 1101 East University Avenue in Urbana, Illinois, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. The notice of public hearing appeared in the News Gazette on May 24, 2018, and the certificate of publication is available for inspection, and I have it here in front of me. Are there any comments from the public? Please approach the podium, state your name and address. This is your opportunity to make a statement to the Board of Trustees as a whole. We do not take questions. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. The countdown clock will display your remaining time. Any comment from the public on this public hearing or on this item? Seeing none, I'll move the public hearing be closed. Or ask for a motion the public hearing be closed, I'm sorry.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the public hearing for the budget ordinance for fiscal year 2019. Moving on to audience participation for our regularly scheduled meeting. The same admonishment, 5 minutes. Anyone going once, twice? Moving on to our next item, our approval of our board minutes from our May 30th, 2018 meeting.
I move the minutes be approved as distributed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the board minutes from May 30th, 2018. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Carl, Communications.
I'd like to read an email that I received a week or so ago. Shalom, Carl. With your help and the help of Jay Rank and the MTD staff, a new signpost has been installed and the MTD bus stop moved on North Kenyon in order to complete our ERUV. This is of tremendous help to our community and makes this project much more sustainable in the long term. Thank you so much for your help. This kind of broad community support is truly special in what the concept of combined courtyards, the literal meaning of ERUV, is all about. With great appreciation, Rabbi Schachter. Two rabbis in town contacted me at the beginning of June and asked for some help at a bus stop location to help them complete this ERUV project that they were working on. If you don't know what ERUV is, Linda, I'm sure you do, but if anyone else doesn't or the public doesn't, I would encourage you to Google that. It's ERUV. And so we gave them some assistance, and that was just a note of appreciation on their part.
Thank you, Carl. Anything else for communications? We'll move to the Managing Director's report.
Okay. May ridership was down 7.8% from last May. and we are down 5% on the year-to-date comparison through May. So we have one more month of the fiscal year left to determine the annual ridership. The May 2018 operating revenue was 6.9% below May of 2017, and year-to-date operating revenue was 0.5% above FY 2017. The May operating expenses were 16.7% below May of 2017, and our year-to-date operating revenue was $313,000 above budget, while operating expenses are $3.9 million under budget. In addition to the notes that you have in your board packet, I just wanted to mention that the Federal Transit Administration has, in fact, I guess just at the tail end of last week, released the notice of funding opportunity for the 5339 Bus and Bus Facilities Grant Program. So just to rewind a little, last year when we applied for 2 large grant applications for the Illinois Terminal Expansion Program, it was for Tiger and for 5339. And so this year, we didn't receive either of those because of previously discussed reasons. This year, we're applying for BUILD, which is the new version of Tiger, and again, 5339. So we've been waiting for that, they call it a NOFO, Notice of Funding Opportunity, to be released so that Jane can get these grant applications finished and filed away. She's been working furiously on her keyboard, working on them, and so we're excited about getting those applications in and seeing how that plays out. And with that, I will take any questions up to and including page 40.
Board, any questions for Carl? Jim?
Carl, I know and we've talked about this before, the route analysis, we're still waiting for?
Still waiting.
But under ongoing projects, how does this compute with planning for moderate route schedule changes in the fall? Without a route analysis, you just guesstimate, or how do you do that?
Well, no, we have our own internal processes that we use. The route analysis study is an infrequent study that we would do with maybe 5 to 10 to 15 years in between studies. So when we approach a point and we think that the community has seen major enough shifts to qualify for it, then we might pull the trigger on this. Or if there are other variables that we think that would pull the trigger on doing a system-wide route study, then that's what this is for. The year-to-year changes in route structuring and schedule changes and ongoing analysis, operations and planning, and administrative staff do internally.
So I assume that the big variable on the year-to-year is ridership, possibly also influenced by road conditions and neighborhood differences. What's your number one driver then that make changes?
This was something that the board asked for as a part of their goal-setting process a couple years ago. We've been trying to get this route analysis grant ironed out with IDOT for a couple of years now, and the major factors involved with promoting it from the board, I believe, were the ridership decline and also the infill development around the fringe of campus and the changing student body living conditions, not conditions, environment structure for students.
Residential
Yeah.
infill. This was what, 3 or 4 years ago?
I wouldn't, yeah, probably not 4 years ago, but certainly
Dating
three-ish years
my
ago.
question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't want to step on my own toe.
Pardon?
I don't want to step on my own toe.
I don't want you to step on your own toe either.
Had
Yeah.
previously, thank you.
Yes.
Additional questions for Carl on his report or any information in the book? Seeing none, we shall move on to the board committees. Administration. Does administration have a report? No report? Facilities. No report? Nothing? service delivery. All right. We'll move on. Okay, understand. You haven't met yet. We'll move on to our action items. Our first action item, we'll be taking a roll call on all of these, will be ordinance 2018-2, and that's our budget and appropriation ordinance for fiscal year 2019 that we previously held a brief public hearing for. I'd ask for a motion for this item. It's been moved and seconded. Any board comment on the budget and appropriation ordinance this time? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Farren. Hannan. Barnes. Bauer.
Yes.
Chaplin.
Yes.
Cho. Dial.
Yes. Motion carries. Our next action item is Resolution 2018-2, and that is the ascertainment of prevailing wage for the CU MTD. Carl, you want to give any backstory
Not a
on
whole lot
this?
to say here, but this is our annual approval of the state prevailing wage table, and this is in order to remain in compliance with state labor laws.
Again, this is an item that we'll be taking a roll call on. I'll ask for a motion.
I'd like to have a couple quick questions if I may.
We will, but I'd like to have a motion and a second on it first.
The resolution be approved as distributed. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Jim?
Carl, I did take the time to look at the state, their information. So this primarily, it's prevailing wage, does not necessarily apply to the day-to-day activity. It's primarily construction and demolition, correct?
Yeah, this is when we hire a contractor to do work, and it is, if we hire a non-union contractor to do work, it is this prevailing wage sets a wage level to levelize or equalize the non-union and union construction companies so that they have competitive bidding capability with one another.
So the non-union people have to pay the prevailing wage.
Right, so on that specific job, when they are doing a job for a governmental entity like the Mass Transit District or the City of Champaign or the City of Urbana or the county or something like that, then that contractor for that job has to pay their employees the prevailing wage level as opposed to whatever normal wage that they pay.
And the reality is, say the MTD has no flexibility in this. They just have to accept the prevailing wage? I guess, in a worst case.
I suppose you have the flexibility of not being in compliance with the law, but then
That's
there
what I
are
mean. So really,
ramifications for doing that.
It's a formality. I mean, that's just the way it is, whether you like it or not.
It's a requirement, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's county by county, so obviously what we pay here is going to be different than Cook County
That's correct.
by some, I assume, some level. Good, that helps. As I said, the state site was very cursory in its overview.
Additional questions on this item? Seeing none, go ahead.
So it could end up costing the taxpayers more money just because of this law. Could. This is
Boy, I feel like this is a
another
trick
time and
question,
place.
Dick.
Another time and place for that. But just
This is an excellent discussion topic, but
Yeah,
Not for today.
maybe you and the chair should have this conversation.
no, we should not. I'll ask for a roll call on this item.
Farren.
Yes.
Hannan. Barnes. Bauer.
Yes.
Chaplin.
Yes.
Cho. Dial.
Yes, motion carries. Our next item is Resolution 2018-3, and that is our contract with the Division of Disability Resources and Education Services. That's our intergovernmental agreement with them. Carl.
Yes, this is really the final piece to our agreement with the University of Illinois. It's actually a second agreement, but they're related to one another. They're sister agreements. And this is specifically for the curb-to-curb or paratransit specialized services for students with disabilities on campus through the Department of Rehabilitation and Education Services, DRES. And so this is, we contract to them to provide this service for us because they know their students better than we do, and they can provide a higher level of customer service to them because they know them, their needs, their class schedules, and things like that better than we can. So again, it's one of those fortunate and unique situations where it's win-win for everybody.
Carl, on that, essentially, they have their own drivers, they have their own vehicles, we just maintain them? Is that a too general a description of that?
That is the current scenario, yeah. We've been doing this since 1994. We haven't always done maintenance on their vehicles. We just started doing that about 3 years ago. And so that's been rolled into a part of this agreement. We had a parallel agreement for maintenance to the service agreement, and so this one finally puts them together. But yes, we are contracting them to do the service. It's with their equipment and their employees, but then they are contracting back to us, our maintenance department, to do the maintenance on those
Yeah, that's why it
vehicles.
seemed a little convoluted, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's a yes.
Not straightforward.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
It's
I
complications.
don't
unique.
understand.
I would say it's unique.
It is unique, yes.
It's unique. Any other board comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this item. A roll call, please.
Farron,
Yes.
Hannon, Barnes, Bauer,
Yes.
Chaplin,
Yes.
Cho, Dial.
Yes, motion carries. That is our last action item and our last item for the day. This could be a record. Our next regular board meeting will be Wednesday, July 25th at 3 o'clock, right here in the beautiful Art Deco City of Champaign Council Chamber, City of Champaign office building here at 102 North Neal in Champaign. Vice Chair Chaplin will be taking the helm next week as I will be on, or next month as I will be on vacation. Any other board comments? Linda?
I didn't say anything, I didn't get a chance to comment when we were talking about the wages. I mean, in a way, it helps keep a contractor from bidding low because they can pay people $8 an hour. And then the DRES is a good way to show, what do they call it? Maximizing resources. Since we already have the resources to do maintenance, we can do it for them or for the county, and rather than build their own facilities and their own staff. So all good things.
Agreed. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? The rest of you can stay. Have a great evening.